Okay. Hey guys, sorry. Okay. My name is Carrie Grants, and I am a artist who creates just kind of all kinds of things. Let me see here. Hold on just a second, please. Okay. I make hand lettered items. I make textured pieces. I do glass art because Elizabeth taught me. I make cards. I make just anything. I love to create. Excuse me. My business name is Making Heart, and it's spelt capital H, little e, because he is by far the most important part of my art. And then it's capital ART. And so I want to thank Elizabeth for letting me be here with you guys and show you how I do what I do. And I'm very hopeful that y'all will enjoy this. This is only like my second time to do this, so bear with me because I'm not real good at this. But we'll get through it and you'll learn something, even if it's just what not to do on a live video. But it'll all be good. So I'm going to switch the camera over and we're going to get started. Okay. So this is the piece that we're going, well, it's not this exact piece, but because you can't make two alike, I can tell you that right now. It's just not possible. So this is actually pretty much the piece that we're going to create. Is a 4x6, but these are just some samples of the ones that I have already done. Now, these are for sale on my website at makingheart.com. And I think they run, if I'm not mistaken, I think they're $20 free shipping. If I'm not mistaken, they may be $15 free shipping. I'm not real sure. My daughter takes care of my website, so. So these are just some of the pieces. I think there's 15 or 20 on the website. So they all say something different. They're all done in different colors, but they all have the shimmering gold on them. I saw one a while ago. Look, it started out coral. That didn't last. So anyways, you put a bunch of color, you make it pretty, and it's a great gift. So let's get started. Okay, have a blank canvas. I've painted it this color, which is Folk Art Thunder Gray. I don't know if you can see that. I gotta find the camera here. Okay, there it is. You can't really see it. Anyways, Folk Art Thunder Gray is the color. And that's what I've just used for the space coat. Just plain and simple, nothing fancy, and then gotta have your palette knives. Those are your tools. These are my two favorite. I have lots of different shapes, but these are the two favorite that I have the most control with them. So we're gonna be using the long one for this project. This is what I use. This is the secret ingredient. Okay, so this is the spackling paste. I get it at Home Depot. I think this little container right here, it's a 32 ounce. It's like, I don't know, 10 bucks. It's not that expensive, but it goes forever. I've had this for probably, 2 years, year and a half. And I mean, like, it goes forever. And I make these all the time. So we're just gonna scoop us some out of there. You kind of have to mix it around, kind of like Play-Doh, you know. If you move it around a little, it's like it puts the moisture back in it a little bit, so it's easier to mold. So you're gonna get a blob about so much, not too much. And we're just gonna paint it on there. You kind of just spread it, kind of like spreading peanut butter, really. You don't want to get it too thick, but you don't want it too thin either. You just slowly start shaping, and you let your knife kind of create different waves in your design. There you go. Can you see that? The different textures of it? And now that shape will hold. It won't go anywhere. Like when it dries, it is rock solid. I mean, you know, I've dropped these pieces more than once. They don't usually break or crack, but they can if you get kind of crazy with it. So you don't have to be too worried about it falling apart, but okay. Thank you, Shanna. Okay, we're going to put the second part of the cross on. There you go. Okay. Now, let's see if I can show y'all. Do you see the texture is amazing? There it is. And you can kind of see it when it does that. Let's see, like this, I just push it in there. You just kind of add to it, okay? You can kind of move it around. It stays soft for a while. So like this will have to dry for 24 hours. You can't just paint over it right now. It's just going to turn to mush. So this will dry, and after 24 hours, you will have this. It's hard. And it's dry. Now we're going to put the color on it. So you can put any color you want. You can put, you know, earth tones. I mean, like any color you want. I personally like to put bold colors. Most all of mine, this one I'm going to put Peacock Teal Deco Art. And I'll list all of the stuff that I have used in the comments after this is all over. So you guys can maybe try to make it for yourself. Oh, I'm sorry. That one was Bahama Blue Deco Art. Alright, and the last color is going to be red. And it's Anita's True Red is what I've used. Okay, now it is literally just kind of make a mess. I don't do anything in particular. I just put the color down on the canvas, a little bit of everywhere. Because when it's all said and done, you don't see a whole lot of the color, but depending on the effect or the texture that you want and how much texture you have, you can see the color. So we got a little bit of red. And then we're going to put a little bit of turquoise. And most of the time, I'll let it dry a little bit, but like I said, it's all going to be kind of washed away in the end, so I don't worry about it. Doesn't bother me much. Sometimes when the colors mix together, they're kind of pretty. Thanks, Elizabeth. It is pretty cool. It's really fun to do. Okay, now, see that? It puts some pretty colors, and it kind of takes away from the texture that you're coloring. But we'll bring that back here in a minute. So then we're just going to go in with a little bit of light blue. And like I said, no particular pattern. Just, you know, putting some color on it. That's all we're doing. Okay, so now we've got it all painted. After this dries, after all the paint dries on your base, on your colors, and you can put, I mean, I've done them where I put 10 colors. I've done them with one color. That it's totally up to you, your preference as to what, you know, how involved you want it to be. This was meant to be. Well, I'm glad, Emily. I'd love to see what you can create. Okay, so now that this is finished with the color, we're going to go to the next step. After this dries, it's going to look like this. See that no two ever look the same. I just did both of these today. Did one in front of you and one an hour ago, and it does not look the same. Okay, which is perfect. That's what makes it unique. So, okay, so this is now, it's dry. It's not very pretty, but we're going to make it pretty. Okay, so with the next step, I'm going to use the Deco Art Americana Light Mocha. I'm also going to use some just plain old white, any brand will work. And we're just gonna kind of soften those colors, and it'll kind of bring out the textures. It's kind of cool when you put the white on it. This is the white, and it's kind of just a blob of color. Okay. You can see the cross kind of coming out of that color. And you can do it as thick or as light. I guess I should have said heavy. As you want it. You can take away from the red. You can add a little more. You can make it mostly white. That is completely up to you. How wet your brush is will definitely determine. And I use these old raggedy brushes just because they don't put a whole lot on there. And I just keep going over and just a little bit of dry brush here and there. Okay, so that's with the white. Now I'm going to use the Mocha. Oh, I'm almost out. That's all right. And I use the same brush. I mean, I don't even worry about all that. And I just do, now when I do the Mocha, I'm going to do it a little heavier so that not so much of the color shows. It's got more of the beige in it. Just kind of dyes it down a little bit. Okay. Okay. And I do these. Right now on my website, I have the 4x4. I call them my minis. And they have an easel with them. And the easel looks like this. They're little easels like this. But I do not have any of the bigger sized ones yet. I'm waiting for canvases to come in. So I will get those on my website. Bigger sizes soon. Okay, ladies. So this is what it looks like. Big difference. Let me see if I can get it. I don't know if you can see. See, you can still see the color in it, but it's not as bold. It is no longer this. You see the difference. And this is, it's just, you can still see the red and the turquoise and the colors kind of just in the texture of it. Okay. So now you can wait for that to dry. And I have another one over here. Now we're going to put the gold on it. After we've put the layers of white, I usually go back and I put the gold on it. Let's see. The gold that I use two different ones. I use the golden, both of them are Golden Brand. And one is the Iridescent Gold Fine. I don't know if you can see that. There we go. Nope, that glare. There it is. And I also use the Iridescent Bronze. I personally prefer the bronze. Okay, let me see what I did with my brush. Okay, and I'm just using plain Jane paintbrushes, nothing fancy. Just, okay. So we've got, and it's pretty much, when you do the white and the beige, you're pretty much dry brushing it, especially if you use old brushes like I used. They don't hold a lot of paint. It doesn't adhere a bunch of paint. So when you put it over the color, it dries really quick. I mean, this is like pretty much almost completely dry. Okay, and so now I'm going to go back in with, I have to hold it from underneath. I'm going to go back in with my gold, and you can see the textures, the difference that it makes in the texture of the cross. It just changes the entire look of the whole thing. And then I usually will just go ahead and I always do all the sides. Let's see here. Do all the corners and the edges. Can y'all see it? I'm sorry. Y'all see that? Okay. Now, I'm sorry. I know I'm like, maybe I'm going too fast, but it's hard when something comes easy to you to try to make it understandable, I guess, for someone who doesn't understand it. So I hope I'm not going too fast for you guys. Okay, we just put in the gold and just let the gold kind of accent all of it. Now, it looks like it's just lines, but it's not. It's just the glare that makes it look that way. Some would say, well, why did you go through all the work of putting all the colors and blah, blah, blah? It's just part of it. I don't know. You don't have to. It's just what I do. Okay, let me see how y'all can see this. That gold beautiful? It just shimmers. It's so pretty. So sometimes I leave it just like this. And I don't add anything else. I'll usually do some lettering. Just, either a scripture, just an inspirational saying or something sweet, But sometimes, like on this one, you can see like one is lighter than the other. This thicker one is a little bit lighter. I just went back over it with a little bit of white. And it just accents the cross just a little bit more. Just kind of the bones of it. And it's just really pretty. I like it like this. Okay. There we go. Okay. So now, the last thing that I do, I just have to wait for this to dry for a few minutes. Does anybody have any questions while I'm waiting for it? Let me see. Thanks, Elizabeth. I've been doing these for about 3 years, and every time I do one, I cannot duplicate no matter how hard I try. I have several that I just really love, and I just cannot remake them no matter how hard I try. Okay. Okay, get my pen. Okay, I need a pen that works. And when I write on them, I just use these plain Jane little Elmer's painter pens. I mean, I think I need to invest in their company because I spend a lot of money on pens. you go. You are loved. Oh, let me move it over here. It was my pleasure, Elizabeth. Thank you so much for having me. Again, I have these on. I have the little ones like this, not the same sizes. Well, I mean, I've got the ones now that I just did. I will be posting the ones that I did for you guys. I'll finish all of the steps. Like I'll finish this one and the blank one. And I will be posting those on my website also, the 4x6s. But I have these little ones available with the easels on my website. And anyways, thank you. I greatly appreciate you having me, and it was a pleasure. If does anybody have any questions before we go? I'll post a list of all the supplies. And I can answer questions afterwards if anybody needs me to. That's not a problem. Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for having me. I'm so blessed, and I'd love it if you guys would come see me at makinheart.com. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram, Making Heart, no G, MAKINHE, capital ART. I'd love to see you there. Thanks. Have a great day. Thank you, Elizabeth. Oh, what was the gold paint? Yes, all the paint is acrylic. Everything is acrylic. And it was, the gold paint is made by Golden, and you buy it at Michael's. Hobby Lobby does not carry Golden. Thanks, friends. Y'all have a good evening. Thanks, Elizabeth. I appreciate you.